Okay. Yeah. Sorry about the technical problems. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Verbling. I am teacher Oakley. I apologize to everyone for the technical problems. I'm not sure what happened. Actually, the class is like fully booked, so I couldn't get in. I'm not sure what was going on there. Yeah, you're in. Come on in, everyone. I'm terribly sorry. I'm not sure what happened with this class. I'm not sure if we were overbooked or what happened, but I had real problems getting in the Google Hangout. All right, come on in. I'm going to give you guys a minute. I know. Yeah, Robson, no kidding. Maybe I need to make reservations for my own class. I'm not sure. Okay. Well, come on in and join me. I'm going to say hello to some people. Hello, James. How are you? James, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. My mic was turned off.
No problem. How are you today?
Nice to meet you, teacher. Yeah, I'm fine.
Nice to meet you as well. Again. Well, now other people are kind of bouncing in and out of the class. I wonder if I am not alone. Hello, Luis. How are you? Louis? Louis?
Hi, teacher. How are you? Fine.
I'm fine. Thanks. Nice to have you in the class. Thanks for joining us. Wow. I think other people are also having a problem. Maybe it's just not. It's not just me today. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like there's many viewers, and I know there was many reservations today, so I'm not sure what's going on here. All right. Well, anyway, while I'm waiting for the Hangout to settle down, and okay, today we're going to be looking at Toefl again, as we usually do at this hour. This week we're going to be looking at Toefl listening, or actually listening to Toefl listening, not looking at. A little of both. Okay. Today you would have hopefully downloaded the document. Today's class will be an overview, what to expect, Toefl listening. In particular, most people now take Toefl Ibt, which is a totally computer-based test. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what you can expect in particular in the listening section. So I'm going to say a quick hello to people. And when I say hi to you, if you have any questions about Toefl in general or Toefl listening, go ahead and ask. I'm going to make sure everyone has a microphone and see who's here. Hi, Robson. Robson.
Well,
hi.
Hi, this is Jonathan from Colombia.
Oh, wait. Not who I thought I was talking to. Okay. Hi, Jonathan. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What about you?
I'm okay. Slightly stressed out by technology.
Okay, well, my question is actually, I really want to know how much time I can get the certification from the TOEFL. Well, I mean, if I can be certificated tomorrow, I want to know how much time it will last.
Oh, good question. I think it's a year, but you know what? I'm not I think no, maybe 3 years. I don't know. Does anybody out there know how long a TOEFL certificate is good for before becomes invalid. I think it's 3 years, but I'm not sure, Jonathan. I'm going to have to come back to class tomorrow. I'm going to have to double check. Tiago says 2 years. I get confused because I also deal with IELTS and okay, 2 years. I have confirmation. I think IELTS is 3 years. That's why I'm confused. Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, teacher. Thank you very much.
Well, thank your classmates. I had very little to do with it. Okay, thanks, Edu, Antonio, Tiago. You guys are great. Robson, how are you today? Are you there?
Hi, teacher. How are you?
Oh, okay.
Sorry about my joke.
No, okay. Actually, I thought that was funny, and I could use a laugh. I'm a little tense. I'm technologically tense. Brad Pitt. So, Robson, are you planning to take the TOEFL test?
Yeah, in fact, I want to go to an interchange next year in Canada, and I want to make a TOEFL test as well.
Okay, so next year. All right.
Next year.
Okay. Very good. Thanks for joining. Okay. Well, again, today's class will be an overview, and we'll be doing a lot more practice listening later in the week, so you'll get some good practice in. Hi, Tiago.
Hey, Oakley. How you doing, man?
Okay. A little tense today.
I can see that.
yeah, fighting with the computer.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately, you know, computers don't really respond to physical violence. Not well, anyway. Yeah. How have you been, Tiago? It's very good to see you. Long time no see.
Yeah, me too, man. I missed your classes.
Yeah.
Been working, so it's pretty hard to get your classes since it's like 1 a.m. You're in Brazil.
Right. Okay.
But,
well, very good to see you. Anyway, thanks for joining.
My pleasure.
Likewise. All right, Felix. Hi, Felix. How are you?
Hi, teacher. I'm fine. And you?
I'm good.
Okay.
You have any questions about TOEFL? TOEFL listening to start out with? TOEFL in
No,
general?
teacher.
Okay, all right.
No.
All right. Well, you can ask anytime. Hello, Fernando. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry. How are you doing?
Okay. Is there two Fernandos? No, I'm good, Fernando. Fernando, do you have any questions about the TOEFL test in general, or about?
Actually, it's my first class with you.
Oh, okay. And do you have plans to take the TOEFL test in the future?
Yeah. For my university, I have to take it.
Ah, okay, very good. When will you be taking it? What's your lead time?
I don't know, in a year probably, or 2 years. I don't know.
Okay, so you've got time. That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
I got a question about TOEFL.
Yes, Jonathan.
Sorry, the TOEFL evaluates your actual level of English. It has some grades like B1, B2, or C1, C2, something like that. Or what is the TOEFL used for? Sorry.
Well, I think that was a two-part question. All right, so let me just give you the general TOEFL spiel. TOEFL is generally used, as was just mentioned, for people to get into universities, or perhaps sometimes as a prerequisite to get a job. Usually TOEFL is used for academia, so it's more often used to get into a university in an English-speaking country. Now, as far as scoring, TOEFL has kind of moved strongly to what's called Toefl Ibt, which is a completely computer-based test It's run by the same companies that do the American SAT tests and many other standardized testing. In TOEFL IBT, the top score is 120. You can get a score of 30, up to 30 in each of the 4 disciplines. Of course, listening, speaking, writing, reading. So you're going to be tested in each of these 4 aspects of English.
Okay.
And top score is a 30. Now, in some cases, it's a little more straightforward than others. For example, last week we were looking at writing. Or no, yeah. In writing, you have 2 pieces of writing, and they're worth maximum score of 5 points. So if you 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you get a score of 5, it's scaled to 30. So you can think, 2 questions, 5 plus 5. Basically, each point is worth times 3 to scale it to 30s. Speaking, the total number of points is 24, but really your score is 30. So they use ratios or percentages to figure out your score. The score that really matters is the 30. 30, 30, 30, 30, total of 120. Most universities are looking for a range high 60s, even up to 80 is usually what they're looking for. Average score on TOEFL, by the way, I just found this out. The average score on TOEFL total out of 120 is actually 62. That's an average. Most universities are looking for a higher score than that. Of course, you can take the test over if you need to. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Did that answer your question? I hope.
Okay.
Yes, thank you very much, teacher.
You're welcome. Okay, John. How are you doing? John Gyro? Omana? Roa? Many names? Hello. Hi, John. Is your microphone working?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Hi, how are you? I'm not sure if your microphone is working, John. Not sure.
John.
Okay. Try to get your microphone working, John. Hi, Kai. How are you? Or Kike? Is it?
Me. Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm fine.
Okay.
How are you?
How do I say your name?
Enrique Cedro. Enrique.
Enrique?
Kike is because
okay.
Kike is the nickname of Enrique, so sometimes it's difficult for some English speakers, Sometimes it's difficult.
I think Enrique is easier.
Yes, I know.
But that's just me.
Okay.
Okay.
It's my first time here.
All right.
I know about question about TOEFL. I know the part of TOEFL are listening, make an essay, and I don't know what else. What about the components of TOEFL in the exam and how long time it takes? Maybe you can help us or me, right?
Sure. Well, the whole test is timed. Everything is timed. There's listening, speaking, reading, and writing. There are some differences. For example, speaking, you have preparation time. Think about what you're going to say. Not much. 45 seconds like that. And then you need to speak for 45 seconds or a minute. Everything's timed. In speaking, you can't go back. Writing is pretty straightforward. 2 tasks. First one, 20 minutes you have, and then it's over. You have no more time for that question. Second question is 30 minutes. And then and then it's over. So it's timed. Reading is a little different because reading you can go back and answer a question. So you have the option when you're doing the reading part to go back so that the timing per question is not the same in reading. The entire test is timed. You have a certain amount of time, 60 minutes, 60 to 90 minutes. But you can go backwards in the reading. You can re-look at questions over. So you can scroll back and forth on the questions. Around 40 questions. Maybe 30.
40 questions. Wow, it's a lot.
But it may be less. Actually, it's never. They don't have a specific exact amount. For listening, which we're going to be primarily talking about the rest of the class.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, well, all right. Well, listening is not like reading. An important thing you need to know is you can't go back and answer questions. Once you see the question, there's only forward in listening, just like writing and speaking. Reading is the only one where you can go backwards. Listening, once you hear it, you hear it. So you have to be very careful. All right, let's. I think I've talked to everyone. Well, no, Mo. Hi, Mo. Are you there?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you today?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine. Calming down. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Do you have any general questions about TOEFL before we get started talking about listening?
No, I went to some institute here that they prepare for TOEFL. Also, they told me you need almost maybe 6 months to be ready for TOEFL, something like this, because most of university ask TOEFL or IELTS. You know IELTS?
IELTS, yeah. I'll be doing my IELTS class in 3.5 hours. Yeah.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes. Hang on, Mark.
Teacher, did you take the exam, the TOEFL exam?
I've never taken the official TOEFL test, but I've taken practice tests in teacher training for TOEFL. So I haven't. I have taken the actual IELTS test, however.
Okay, but why, teacher?
Why what?
Do you have some reason to don't take this exam?
Yes, I'm 50 years old, so when I was going to university, this test didn't exist, and also, I'm a native speaker. Most native speakers aren't generally required to take this test.
Yes, I think so. TOEFL is for second level.
For me to get into university in the United States, I'm required to take an SAT, but I'm not required to take a TOEFL or IELTS. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Teacher, I gotta ask my last question.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. If I have to, well, I have heard of different comments about IELTS and TOEFL and so on.
Yeah.
I really want to know what is the real difference between those exams.
Jonathan, that's a really, really good question. Okay. They're fundamentally different in this way, in two ways. They're both difficult. Thiago's right. They are both difficult. In my opinion, first of all, IELTS has two types of tests. They have the academic version and the GT, or general training test. GT is quite a bit different. TOEFL is mostly academic because, as I said before, most people are taking it so that they can get into a university in a English-speaking country. So, okay, there's a few differences. TOEFL is more timed. The timing is more strict or regimented. Time per question, for example, in speaking. IELTS is a little bit looser. As an example, TOEFL gives you 20 minutes first writing task, 30 minutes second. IELTS basically is the same thing, but they give you 1 hour, and you can work 40 minutes on the first one, 20 on the second, 45, 15. They're looser in the timing structure. So you have more time to play with. Everything isn't quite so structured with time. Now that's just in mechanics. The topics in TOEFL are much more academic. You're going to be reading, writing, speaking about geology, sociology, biologies, all the ologies. Okay? Sciences and humanities. Okay? Things like architecture and all those types of things. IELTS kind of splits. They do a lot of the ologies, but they also do some more controversial subjects, as far as topics. Things like global warming and maybe women's rights, maybe things of that nature. Free trade and economics, more controversial sociological problems, transportation problems with mass transit, pollution, all these things. All right. Whereas TOEFL is much more concentrated. TOEFL, overall, each of the tests really is much more integrated. In other words, in the speaking, for example, you have to read and listen and then speak in many parts of the test. IELTS, you're just speaking. There may be, it's much more integrated in TOEFL, and TOEFL, a lot of the tests, the strategies remain the same in reading, listening, speaking. When you're reading, they're always going to be, for example, and this will help you, in listening, they give a lecture and they do conversation. You're always going to listen very carefully to the beginning because they're going to give their topic sentence, controlling idea or main idea of what they'll be talking about. It's the same. Reading, writing, listening, everything basically has the same kind of organizational format. They introduce, they give points, they conclude. So if you get used to that kind of organization, both in input in listening or reading and in output when you're speaking or writing, if you can concentrate on using that structure, you're probably going to do pretty well in TOEFL. Okay?
So you really recommend TOEFL rather than IELTS?
No. No, I wouldn't. I personally prefer IELTS, and as a teacher, I think it's a much more accurate measurement of a person's speaking skill and English skills. But okay, this is personal preference, and
yes.
I don't like some of the TOEFL styles of question. Okay, here's another big difference that you need to know as a test taker.
Okay.
TOEFL does crazy things. They try to trick you by giving you false answers.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Or they do inference questions where they say 2 plus 5 equals A, 4, B, 7, D, 8. They don't even give you the right answer. You just have to think of what is the most correct answer. Okay. Or they try to trick you with the answers in TOEFL. False answers. You have to watch out for that. IELTS, on the other hand, also tries to trick you as the test taker, but they do it with the questions. Okay?
Okay.
In IELTS, for example, it will say, please write down the Roman numeral of the correct answer. So you have to write down IV for 4. If you write down the number 4, that is wrong. Or IELTS will say, please write your answer 2 words, maximum 2 words. If you write down an answer with 3 words, it is wrong. So they both try to trick you, but IELTS does it with directions and TOEFL does it with answers.
Okay, you have to be to answer carefully with the. You have to follow carefully the questions.
Yeah, and in IELTS, the directions are really important. In TOEFL, the directions are pretty straightforward, and once you learn the TOEFL test, most of the questions are in generally, once you look at the whole thing and a couple times, you know exactly what to expect. You know how they're going to phrase the questions. So familiarity with the TOEIC test, TOEFL test, very, very, very important. Okay, so that was a very good question. But there are definitely differences. I personally feel more relaxed with IELTS simply because the stupid timer ticking down, tick, 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 that you have to see in the TOEFL test all through the test. They have a little timer when you're taking the test, and you look at that timer and your heart goes pounds faster and faster, you know. I hate that thing, you know.
Yes, well, I heard that really the IELTS an excellent exam, and even the certification lasts like 5 years more or less. So I have been thinking about to take the IELTS rather than the TOEFL. So I think I'm gonna take it on this John.
Yeah, and the thing is as well that well, it used to be that TOEFL and IELTS, you used TOEFL to go to United States or Canada to school. You used IELTS to go to Australia or Hong Kong or UK. But now they're pretty much interchangeable. So anybody out there, it's pretty much up to you which one you want to take. But you need to make sure to check with your university or the job you're trying to get or whatever, what specifically they need from you. That's the most important thing in reality.
Yes, I really want to travel to Canada, so I don't know which one is going to be the best for me. It suits for me, so I think the IELTS I can take it.
Well, likely they would take both, but inquire or ask of the specific university. You know, it may be different. University of Winnipeg and University of Toronto, it may be different. Okay.
Okay.
So you need to
check.
Thank
you, teacher.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, no, it's good advice for everyone, so thank you for asking. All right, let me talk to you about the listening section of the test. Okay, it's going to be composed of 2 different types of listening exercises. There's going to be lecture. They will have 4 to 6 lectures. It's not always the same. The lecture may last 3 to 5 minutes. There's usually follow-up. You'll have to answer about 6 questions per lecture. You're also going to hear 2 or 3 conversations about, and they're not exactly the same, about 3 minutes long, and there's going to be 5 questions usually about the conversation. Now, everything I teach you, please remember that TOEFL and IELTS evolves, meaning that they sometimes change. They change their format slightly, frequently, actually, every few months. So things you learn, things may be slightly different. They don't change things radically, enormously. They change things very slowly. So don't be shocked if things are slightly different than what I teach you in the class. For the most part, they'll be the same. All right, but might have. So please do, if you're taking the test, follow the directions carefully. All right, what is the point of the listening test? What are they listening for? What do they want from you? What information? There's really 3 things. Basic comprehension. Understanding what the lecturer was about, what the conversation was about. Very key. You can make notes, so please do make notes. As I said earlier, the TOEFL's everything, reading, writing, listening, everything always has the same basic organization. So, for example, you're making notes on a lecture. The lecturer will say the topic, write down the topic. The lecturer will then always have 2, 3, or 4 points, main points, to support their argument or whatever they're trying to say. Write down the points in your notes. Make sure you understand the points, because that's what the questions are going to be about. Use the conclusion. In the conclusion, this lecturer will reiterate, restate their topic, and they'll probably quickly mention 1 or 2 of the points, or maybe all of the points, hopefully. Okay, so your notes is what's going to help you understand basic comprehension. You do not need to understand every minute detail. It would be impossible, so don't try. Don't try to memorize everything the speaker or speakers said. It's not always one person you're listening to. Don't try to memorize, because you never get it. Use your notes. If you don't have a good system of note-taking, then make one. Now, obviously, in listening, the big problem is it's hard to do those 2 things at once. Listen and make notes. So, you should be able to make notes, you know, using abbreviations or even symbols. When I'm making notes, I use arrows. I use a circle to note that it's a very important word in the point or topic or whatever. I circle the word. I'm certainly never going to write full sentences. You don't have time for that. And anyway, the speaker may go on to his next point while you're writing down an entire sentence. You can't do it. So it's very difficult because you're multitasking. You're listening and writing. Very key that you make notes, okay?
Yeah, so the circles and the stuff that you said before that we have to write while we are listening to conversation or whatever the speakers are saying, it's just for linking ideas, all right?
Yeah, just for exactly linking ideas. So I'm just telling you my note-taking strategy. Everybody, the way you take notes, it's quite personal. We all learned how to take notes in different ways. So I was just giving you an example. So instead of saying, okay, A causes B, or the writing down the effect of, I just make an arrow. And for me, that means A causes B, or the effect of A is B. Arrow, that's all I need. Okay, that's just my personal note-taking strategy. One thing I do. But you know, notes. How to take notes is very difficult because we all you learn to take notes in different ways. Now, your notes are your own. They're not part of the test. So any way you want to make notes is fine. If you want to make notes in your native language, you can, but I would not recommend it because sometimes in translation it gets mixed up. I would, as much as you can, I would try to make notes in English. Also, that's going to give you English keywords that you can look for later. All right, the second thing, the purpose of listening, is your what they call pragmatic understanding. Understanding what the speaker's trying to accomplish. What is their purpose? What is the speaker doing? All right, if it's a lecturer, are they trying to express their opinion, or are they expressing somebody else's? Are they reinforcing or agreeing with somebody else's opinion? Are they arguing against? Are they arguing for? And what is their attitude? Do they feel very strongly about it? Are they just giving information? Even more important, in the conversation, you will listen to conversation with 2 or more speakers. Usually, normally, and again, you have the same thing in speaking. Usually, normally, one person has a strong opinion and the other person is sort of a sounding board. So you have to understand who has a strong opinion and who is trying to be supportive or who is just listening? Okay. Okay. Camila, outside the class, what I would recommend you do is after this class is over, look at the recording, because I already spent 15 minutes discussing the difference between TOEFL and IELTS. So I'm not going to do it again, but you can. There will be a recording, Camila, so you can just check out the recording. I think I did a pretty good job already. So, Camila, after the class, look at the recording. Okay. And then the last thing, most importantly, synthesizing information. Okay. Basically, exactly what I was talking about. Writing notes. What are the points? Okay. What are the different points? For example, and listening, it's the same. In reading, in writing, for example, you have one of your tasks, you read, and there'll be 1, 2, 3 points. And then somebody speaks and agrees or disagrees, and there'll be, matching, 1, 2, 3 points. It's always the same. In listening, it's the same thing. The people are having a conversation, they're going to make 2, 3, 4 points. The person with the opinion, always write it down so that you will remember. You must do that. So your ability to figure out
Teacher?
Yeah.
Teacher,
somebody muted me. Okay, I'm good now. To be able to understand if there's a cause and effect. To be understand if there's contrasting points. Okay? 2 opposite points. These kinds of things there will also be questions about. Understand, okay, they're also in the listening, and now this is a little difficult. Sometimes, Camila, no reason to be sorry, I'm just letting you know. Anyway, sometimes the lecturer or the speakers in the conversation will digress. Sometimes I digress, meaning that they go off topic. Okay? They digress. It occasionally happens. They say something not really related to the topic. Understand that. Figure out how to write that in your notes. Underline it or something. There may be a question about it. Which, for example, something like which point the lecturer makes does not fit the topic. All right? The lecturer is speaking about dogs as pets, and he talks about, their loyalty, and you can train them to protect you, and dogs are actually proven to help old people live longer. And then the lecturer tells a stupid story about how the cat ate his breakfast cereal. Well, in which point does the lecturer digress? Obviously, talking about the cat eating cereal. It has nothing to do with the topic. So there will be questions. So that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. Being able to recognize what are points that match the topic, and when does the lecturer or the speakers go off topic. Which in reality, we do that. Okay. They try, in TOEFL, another difference between TOEFL and IELTS, of course, which I forgot to mention earlier. TOEFL, when you're listening, the lectures and conversations will pretty much be in American or English accent. But in TOEFL, there will be 1 or 2 British accent. IELTS, exactly the opposite. Okay? In IELTS, pretty much you're going to hear British or Australian accents, maybe Canadian, with one or two, maybe they'll sneak in an American. It's the opposite. Both of them have both. But of course, TOEFL has much more American speakers. IELTS has many more British speakers. It's okay because the American accent, whatever you're more used to, also that may be a factor, whether you take IELTS or TOEFL. But I will tell you, the accents are quite neutral. Jonathan, I don't know what's happening to you there.
To me? Well, I'm here right now.
No, I know, but there was a loud sound from your microphone. Whatever. It's okay now. It's gone now.
Sorry.
It's okay. Any case, very neutral accents. Excuse me. If you want to practice, I would suggest for American accent, I might suggest NPR radio, television. That's National Public Radio. They have websites. You can listen to their broadcasts. That is the accent you will hear. If you're trying, yeah, it's National Public Radio. This is American. I highly recommend it. Yeah, Enrique, shoot.
Please, each topic, grammar, listening and reading and writing, the topics of the TOEFL, okay, has the same point, or maybe listening has more points than other. Do you know what I'm saying?
They all have this. Well, they are scaled. You know. They're all scaled. So, in the end, they all have 30 points. But they have what is called raw score and scaled score. Okay. So your raw score. For example, in speaking, your raw score is a maximum of 24 points. You have 6 questions, 4 points maximum. So if you do perfectly, your raw score is 24, but your final score, the one that counts to universities or work or whatever, your scaled score, final score is 30. Okay? So sometimes they're different. They may scale up or scale down. There may be more than 30 questions on reading and listening, but they'll scale down. They use percentages. Okay?
I got it, teacher.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So as I mentioned, NPR is great for learning or listening. They have many recordings. You can hear American accent. I would recommend BBC, BBC Radio, BBC Television, or British. BBC is, you're going to hear I recommend them because they use very neutral British or very neutral American accents. They're actually quite useful as tools to practice for listening. Okay. Okay, helpful things to do that you can do to help yourself, all right, in studying. Well, we've only got a few minutes, but obviously anything you can do to broaden your vocabulary will help you in listening and, of course, in all the aspects. Don't get distracted, okay? Sometimes the speaker will do weird things occasionally. Weird things like, I don't know what I was going to say. And then they'll start making another point. They do that because that's what speakers naturally do. Don't be distracted by that. Really, the questions are not going to focus on tiny details. Yeah. Jonathan, I'm not sure what's happening. There's a lot of weird feedback noise.
Sure. Let me check if I can let my volume down.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Okay,
When you're speaking,
sorry.
it's no problem. It's straight.
Okay, well.
Okay. Another way you can practice, all right? Maybe listen to a little BBC or listen to a little NPR or whatever. Listen to 2 or 3 minutes of a radio program online, and then see if you can summarize what were they talking about? What were the main points? What was the article or discussion about? And actually, both BBC and NPR have discussion, 2 people talk radio programs, two or three people, which will also help you because you're in the listening for TOEFL. You're gonna definitely have to listen to a discussion section. As I said before, there will be a conversation. In the conversation, by the way, you have to listen to conversation in the speaking part too. And the conversations are always pretty much the same. They're people talking about a customer service problem. They're often related to issues at the university. Things like, oh, I heard they're closing the library on Sundays now, and that's my favorite time to study. And some people have, you know, and they'll explain why that's a problem for them, closing the library on Sunday. That would be a typical issue that you would hear, all right, listening or speaking. Something like that. It's very common. Or perhaps it's someone signing up for a class. So they're talking to the person about, oh, can they pay now, or do they have to pay everything now? Can they reserve the class and pay later? How do they sign up for a university class? These are very typical kinds of things. All right, I apologize for the shortened class. Clearly, I'll have to log in extra early, maybe even reserve myself. So tomorrow this doesn't happen. We'll be meeting again tomorrow at the same time to do TOEFL listening. And we'll actually have some samples, and I'll be talking more specifically about strategy tomorrow. All right?
Teacher, thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you.
Teacher.
Thank you guys
Thank
for your
you.
understanding as well.
Thanks, teacher.
Okay, thanks, Felix. All right, take care, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You too, teacher.
Thank you.
See you.